And the KFOG Adventure Hours continue right now, and it's going to be a very special hour. I got to tell you, I have had the good fortune of having another conversation with Tori Amos. 1 week ago, she visited the KFOG studios, and we sat down to talk about her new CD, Under the Pink. We also had a keyboard set up in the studio and coaxed her into playing 2 new songs for us live in our studios. Tori Amos, born and raised in North Carolina, daughter of a minister who displayed quite a talent for playing the piano at the age of 2.5. By 4, she had written her first composition, according to her mother. In her words, at a very young age, she desired to escape boring white church music, later lamenting that that she was not exposed to gospel as much as she had hoped to be. She attended the Peabody Conservatory of Music in Baltimore for a few years, but was booted out when she was 11 because of the conservatory's view that she had a lack of discipline. You see, Tori was drawn to music from the likes of Jimmy Page or John Lennon. Her father, the minister, however, recognizing her talent, took her around to bars and hotels in the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore area as a teenager, and unfortunately, most were not interested. Her first actual gig was in a gay bar. Although they wouldn't pay her, they allowed her to play before their real piano players showed up, and they liked her so much that they kept her around for about a year or so. Currently, she's a resident of London, England. She's back with her second release as just Tori Amos. Initially, she had broken into the music business with a somewhat hard rock release called Why Can't Tori Read? Let's call that an experiment. A couple of years ago, she released Little Earthquakes to critical acclaim, and now she's returned with Under the Pink. So please, turn it up, relax, and for the next hour, enjoy the mind and music of Tori Amos. Here's how it went 1 week ago in a recorded interview specifically for tonight on KFOG. Tori Amos, our guest this evening on the KFOG Adventure Hours. I'm John Russell, and this is her second release, basically, called Under the Pink.
Basically is the key word, isn't it?
Well, you've had a couple little CD singles out there with extra tracks and things on them, but this is the second full-length record, right?
Yeah.
Well,
then there was Why
we
Can't
don't want to
Tori
go back.
Read?
Yeah, Why Can't Tori?
Yeah. But that's okay because this is my junior effort, not my sophomore effort.
Yeah.
You know, when everybody talks about the sophomore slump, it's like, yeah, but this is my junior effort. So.
Yeah. And no slump at that, I'll tell you. This sounds real good. And actually, you know, I got to be honest, I've only had a chance to listen to the whole thing all the way through just once. And after doing that and then following along with the lyrics, the subject matter doesn't exactly leap out at you, or at least it didn't at me upon first listen. It seems a little bit more cryptic than the last record. I mean, you know, sometimes you listen to things of 3 or 4 times and go, oh, yeah, now I kind of can understand what she's talking about. But, you know, it's not right up front there in the lyrics about some of the subject matter. Some of it is, like maybe in the song Icicle.
Right. Or The Waitress.
Or The Waitress, yeah.
Each song gives you a little bit of a signpost, but this record is more about a journey that the listener has to take. You can't do it with your head. You really have to do it with your emotional side of your being, and you kind of it's like an ayahuasca journey. You know, that the vine, the vine from the Amazon. It's like a 15-hour inner trip that you take, and a lot of the native peoples do this to have inner vision. And this record, I experienced ayahuasca a few times, and this record kind of took me to the same places that I go on when I've done that before.
Is this something akin to peyote or?
Something akin to that, yeah. Where it's really emotional, and you have to go in and find parts of yourself you've hidden from yourself. This record, it's more, well, I mean, I love the abstract. I mean, when I'm in my most wonderful moments, I see abstract things, not concrete things. When I'm really going to a place that's magical, it's like you're looking at a painting. You don't just kind of get it while you're reading the newspaper, you know. And just because it's called Three-Legged Dog doesn't mean it's a three-legged dog. You have to kind of go to another place with it.
Well, since we mentioned Icicle, maybe we could hear you play that selection for us live here on KFOG. And, of course, this one certainly has some upfront subject matter, so to speak.
So to speak.
Here's Tori Amos now on KFOG.
where are you going? Icicle, icicle, where are you going? I have a hiding place when spring marches in. Will you keep watch for me? I hear them calling. Gonna lay down, gonna lay down. Greeting the monster in our Easter dresses. Father says bow your head like the good book says. Well, I think the good book is missing some pages. Gonna lay down, gonna lay down. And when my hand touches myself, I can finally rest my head. And when they say take of his body, I think I'll take from mine instead. Getting off, while they roll downstairs, singing prayers, I sing away. He's in my pumpkin PJs. I lay a book on my chest. Feel the word, 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 feel and I could have, I should have, I could have flown in a while. I could have, I should have, I didn't. So icicle, icicle, where are you going? I have a hiding place when spring marches in. Will you keep watch for me? I hear them calling. I'm gonna lay down, gonna lay down, lay down, I'm gonna lay down.
104.5, San Francisco's KFOG on the Adventure Hours. Tori Amos, it's wonderful to have you back with us once again.
Thanks,
by the way.
John. Good to be back.
Been a year and a half since you were here last, and hopefully you are going to schedule some dates for the Bay Area sometime soon.
Yeah, we're here in March 21st.
March 21st. What's the venue, do you know yet?
What's the venue? Herbst.
The Herbst Theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I was saying that I really hadn't listened to it enough yet to get all the messages and all the songs.
I'm sorry.
But there was an article that I was reading that they pretty much summed it up. I guess they may have probably already talked to you and listened quite a bit to the record themselves. They summed it up as a record that blasts patriarchy and breaks free of religious repression, victimhood, and sexual guilt. I mean, you're covering some heavy ground here, as usual.
Well, it's really about being free as a person. I mean, my commitment when I started to write Little Earthquakes was I want to know where I'm hiding from myself so that I'm just not a walking reaction, so that when people push my buttons, I'm just not flying, like a puppet all the time, responding. I mean, now when I've got some babe's throat in my hand, At least I know why. That's the whole thing. It's going, well, hang on a minute. If I'm ready to be so violent, what is it that she's saying to me that I don't want to look at? What is it? Now, when we're dealing with social issues, that's a bit different because we get riled up and upset about the way that we handle things as a tribe. When it comes to personal things, it's a little different because it's harder to be objective when it comes to, your own thing. It's different when you're talking about, like, water and how people are treating water. That's very different. It's not like you got mother issues because you're mad the way they're treating the water. You're probably mad because of the way they're treating the water. But a lot of times these interactions with, especially women friends on this record, there's a lot of female violence that I'm dealing with, how women are so vicious to each other sometimes.
You spoke of tribal kind of things. You talk on this record, I guess, about female genital mutilation to some degree in one of the songs.
Cornflake Girl was inspired originally by Alice Walker's book, Possessing the Secret of Joy. And an underlying scene that happens in that book is that the mothers are the ones that take the daughters to the butchers, to the women that cut out the genitalia. And I think beyond the act, it was really about the fact that you trust this person more than anybody in the world. And they're telling you, I'm doing something good for you. This is what needs to be done. This is a good thing. And yet your whole person is being taken away. And it started to really hurt in the deepest part of my being because I think we have cellular memory. I really think that we remember as a consciousness things that happen, even if it doesn't happen to you. It gets passed down, these betrayals, these feelings. Now, in the sisterhood, quote unquote, we've like to see ourselves as incapable of doing things to each other or anybody else. I mean, we really are the pedestal girls. It's like, yes, knees, boys, there it is. Time to worship. Because we just would never do stuff that you horrible guys would do.
Of course not.
Well, guys do some horrible things and then they do some loving things. Women do some loving things and then they also do some horrible things. We also do some horrible things. Because, I mean, my hands are dirty too. So Cornflake Girl was really about the division and the shock of the betrayal.
It's a pretty amazing subject. That's something I don't think a lot of people haven't really heard about, except for the last couple of years. It's been talked about this act that they do in other cultures, and I don't know, I offhand don't know specifically what other cultures they practice this. Do you know?
Well, it's a lot. I mean, it's been in a lot of the, in the Middle East, in Africa. It even got into Asia at certain points. But, there's the feet binding that had been happening for a long, long, long time. I know that has stopped now, obviously. But going beyond even these acts, that was the point of Cornflake Girl. It's the issue of betrayal. You don't have to, mutilate them physically, to mutilate them emotionally. And what goes on in the ladies' room is a real, it's a secret society. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the ladies' room, the way that we treat each other, the way that we withhold from each other, not give each other support. It's like you say, yeah, I'm really happy for you. Yeah, I am. And you're just finding ways how to bring the rat down back into the pack because she's crawling out. And we can't have that rat crawling out of the pack now, can we?
Here now from her CD Under the Pink is Tori Amos with the song Cornflake Girl on the KFOG Adventure Hours, 104.5 KFOG. Envy.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
Well, look, it's not like we can't be loving towards each other, because there is that too in my life. But it's this wonderful seminar was happening in the Native American community. I can't really tell you which nation it was from, but I'd heard about it from a journalist who had said that one of the matriarchy stood up and said, until we as women can really be responsible for how we treat each other, we will not really be effective. We will not be empowered. We don't need to drag the guys on their knees for the last few thousand years. They're doing it to themselves. It's about, you have to acknowledge what's happened in history. That's the only way that we're going to grow. Because there's not been so many great things that have happened from the patriarchy. Therefore, God, I wrote God, to go after the patriarchy.
Yeah, and of course, just in titling a song God, you're going to be accused of some blasphemous thing.
No. Look,
but then again, we would expect a song like this from you, Tori,
but
being the preacher's daughter.
Yeah, but everybody needs to know he had a really good time. We had tea and crumpets, and we had a blast. You know, we talked last Tuesday, and it's what the song is about. It's like, buddy, put your feet up. I think you need a little advice, and you need it from a babe. So, let's go.
But how do you know God's not a babe?
Well, because if we're talking about institutionalized religion, John, I'm sorry, I hate to bring this up, but we got to look to our history.
Yeah.
That the institutionalized God did not lactate. I mean, let's just read our history. I'm not talking about the Great Spirit. If that's your view, I respect that it's multi-faceted, that it isn't a sex, it's beyond that. But we've really been taught our Heavenly Father, you know, hasn't had a cup size.
Yeah, big guy in the sky with a white beard.
Well, it's been very much the patriarchy from the church, the Pope, the way it's been run, to even women that have been involved in it. You don't have to be a man to be a part of the patriarchy. But it's been about controlling religion. It hasn't been about freeing, about that we all have it within us to be our own master teachers in a way. I mean, we have to inspire each other and grow, but we've got to stop looking for a savior. We've got to take our own responsibility. It hasn't been encouraged what human beings can be. There's been so much shame and so much guilt, and that's really been through the patriarchy, the male God, whether it's Judaic or Christianity or Islam, it's definitely male. And I'm going after the institutionalized God, not after the Great Spirit. I'm going after the little g, not the big G.
Once again from her CD, Under the Pink, here is Tori Amos and her song, God, on 104.5 KFOG. Personally, where do you stand, if you don't mind answering that question? I mean, and what do you think of, like, agnosticism or atheism?
Well, hey, I believe that people have got to believe what feels right to them. I mean, I'm really into encouraging somebody to investigate all parts of their being. That's how we get a creative planet. That's how we become, a harmonic tribe that really creates some magical things. My belief, of course, is not in a sex or a color or whatever. It goes beyond what I've been trained. I can't even conceive of what the force is, the oneness, but I think we're a part of it. We're all a part of that. That's the thing. The oneness is us, too. So it goes beyond, even human beings. I think maybe that comes from my Native American heritage, from my papa, my grandfather, who taught me that it's spirit. It's not spiritess or Mr. Spirit or any of that. It's spirit is in all things. And that was just the teaching.
You have another one that you'd like to perform for us here in the KFOG studios, right, Tori?
This song has been kind of really dear to my heart. It's Baker Baker.
It's Tori Amos on 104.5 KFOG.
Baker, baker, baking a cake, make me a day, make me whole again. And I wonder what's in a day, what's in your cake this time. I guess you heard he's gone to LA. He says that behind my eyes I'm hiding. and he tells me I pushed him away, and my heart's been hard to find. Here, there must be something here. There must be something here. Baker, Baker, can you explain if truly his heart was made of icing? And I wonder how mine could taste. Maybe we could change his mind. I know you're late for your next parade. You came to make sure that I'm not running. Well, I ran from him in all kinds of ways. Guess it was his turn this time. Time. Thought I'd made friends with time. Thought we'd be blind. Maybe not this time. Baker, Baker, baking a cake. Make me a day, make me whole again. And I wonder if he's okay. If you see him, say hi.
4.5, San Francisco's KFOG and Tori Amos. That was Baker Baker from the new record Under the Pink, actually from Tori Amos herself, right here in the KFOG studios with us. I'm John Russell. It's the KFOG Adventure Hours, and that one was a song that was mentioned in the article as well as being something that was kind of, not necessarily part two, but something...
The next step.
The next step after the song Me and a Gun.
Yes.
Which was about rape or attempted rape, which was on the first record.
Yes, it was about rape.
Yes.
And what's been difficult is that after you acknowledge something that you've hidden from yourself because you've been so afraid to deal with it that it would, break you to deal with it. Once you acknowledge it, that of course is the big step. But then there are many steps after that, and I think everybody out there that's been through that knows exactly what I mean by it's one thing to say it, and then it's the next thing to wake up each morning and go, look, I've got a choice. Am I gonna stay a victim in my head the way I see myself? Am I gonna stay bitter forever? Forgive isn't the right word. That behavior can't be justified, treating another person like that. But what I have to do is decide how I'm going to treat myself now. And a wise woman in New Mexico actually said to me during the making of this record, Tori, there's a man that's in your life over there that really loves you. Now, if he walks out the door and you don't want to open yourself up to love again because you're so afraid to be intimate, you don't want to be touched, it's only you and the piano, that's the only time that you'll show passion, then you have to take responsibility for the fact that you are making this choice. Because you can choose something else. You have to work through the feelings that are around it. But you've got to take responsibility. And Baker Baker was written out of me not being emotionally really available.
Difficult thing to overcome. We'll continue in a moment with more from Tori Amos on the KFOG Adventure Hour. We're KFOG San Francisco, and on the KFOG Adventure Hours, we return now to our interview with Tori Amos and music from her new CD, Under the Pink. Then you get to a song like Space Dog. I have no idea what this song is about.
Yeah, neither do I. No, Space Dog is like, we've worshipped everything, so why not Space Dog? I mean, he does have some good things to say. SD. I say, so sure we were on something. Your feet are finally on the ground, he said. So sure we were on something. Your feet are just on the ground, girl. Being on the ground is like the greatest trip we can take right now. Being on the planet, being present, being here. This is the great trip. If you have other experiences, whatever they are, out of body or however you're getting them, wonderful. But the main thing is, so many times I haven't been present. I'm somewhere else in my head. It's like I'm not really having the conversation with the person I'm having the conversation with. So who knows if I missed something that could have changed? Well, you know what I mean? You're just never there. You're not in your body. You're not allowing yourself to really feel what you're feeling. It's like, well, actually, I don't want to be here. Then it's like, okay, Tori, then we have a decision to make. We can split and go have pizza. Do you know? So Space Dog really has come from hearing so many kids on the road going, I don't want to go home tonight. And Johnny, my tour manager, who's sitting right here, we're going, what do you mean you don't want to go home tonight? And one girl couldn't remember where she has lapses of memory for maybe 8 days at a time. She doesn't know where she's been for 8 days. And it's like, hey, there's stuff going on out there, like more than ever before. There's so much going on, and it's emotional self that isn't getting dealt with. So Space Dog is really, it's about the kid in Chicago that's going, oh my God, this family of mine, the kind that would show up on Oprah? The kind that would show up and you go, oh no, I can't have their genes in me. I can't. I know I was fathered and mothered by the gypsies somewhere and they just stole me. And you're talking into your peas. And I just saw this young guy going, lemon pie, come in. Get me out of here. Can you read me? And I go, I read you, buddy.
I think that cleared it up a little bit.
Yeah, that cleared it up.
Here now is Space Dog from Tori Amos on 104.5 KFOG's Adventure Hour. Past the mission, is a kind of a mystery story, or there's some mystery to this song.
Yeah, there's mystery. There's a little Jesus and Mary Mag happening, hanging out, doing the thing. Yeah. But I've always thought Mary Magdalene is a single parent, has been for years. My father and I didn't agree on that one. But anyway, point is, there's always an underlying theme of trying to work through the stuff the messages that I've taken on. And Past the Mission is really struggling to go beyond whatever the mission represents or the prison tower. It's past the mission, finally, I smell the roses. There is a choice. There is no self-pity in this record, and there's no victim, whether it's Pretty Good Year. A bit of it, yes, is abstract, but I love that. It's about dealing with a shape instead of dealing with a linear sentence. You have to crawl into the shape and understand what it's telling you. The choice of Trent Reznor to sing on the record from 9 Inch Nails was that he really represents rage to me. And to have somebody with that to sing so tenderly and supportive of this girl who is trying so desperately to get out of these patterns and not become, like her parents, like her grandparents, like everybody else in the same mold of I can't, I won't, you know what I mean? I'm not good enough. It's like, no, hang on a minute. Past the mission, I smell the roses. There is choice here.
With another track from Under the Pink, here is Tori Amos and Past the Mission on 104.5 KFOG. There was a one-liner note in here about on bells for her. What is a prepared upright? How do they prepare it?
Well, Eric, who produced the record, and Phil Chanel, who was the string arranger, love getting cappuccino together. They really enjoy it. And they're Ruskies. They all are both of them are Russian descendants. And the two of them, came up with this thing about, let's get a piano, an upright. We need it. Where should we get one? And I'm like, well, of course we have to go to the church because they all have like 20 uprights sitting around. And we got an upright, an old upright. They detuned it an octave and muted 2 of the 3 strings. It was about a 37-hour butcher job, the 2 of them. They're whacking away in there. And they made a beautiful thing out of their whacking. But after they did it, I heard the tone, I heard the sound, and I just said, Eric, I think something's coming. And he said, well, stand right here, let me get a sound. And I said, I don't think it's coming right now. And so he said, yeah, okay, fine. Whenever it comes, I just want to make sure I have the sound. So I started out of the blue. It's like you get zapped. And Bells for Her was written as I was standing there. And what you hear on the record was the writing of it. Eric just happened to push his hand on the red light. It's like he got an ice cream that night for that one. I'll tell you, pretty good year. I got a letter from a guy in the north of England who said, he drew a picture of himself with his drooping flower, and he's anorexic, and he's standing there, and his head's bent, and long hair, and, glasses, and greasy, and the whole bit. And he said, all my dreams of who I was going to be, all my ideas, I'm now working in the factory that my father worked at, and I'm never leaving, and I know it. I know I'm never getting out of here. He started to have responsibilities, he got in a bit of trouble, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, no self-pity, Greg. No self-pity. You can always choose. That's what we're taught, that we can't make choices. I mean, sometimes, we have responsibilities, but there are other ways of still, working on our creative life. And it's the idea that we can't do this. And this song, I'm Greg too. There's a part of me that's Greg. But it was such a commitment in this record to not be a part of pity. That doesn't help anybody.
So this is a pretty good year. Tori Amos on 104.5 KFOG. Well, thanks again for coming by. Once again, Tori Amos, has been about a year and a half, and I hope it's not that long that we see you. Of course, I guess you'll be back in March. So
Gonna be back in March.
March 21st, the Herbst Theater.
Come say hi.
We certainly will.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for coming by KFOG.